What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Dylan. It's Mitch. We're back for episode 8 of the Bottom Line Podcast. We're here every single Friday giving you the biggest headlines, the biggest videos that we can come up with, all the good stuff about the NFL. I hope you guys enjoy. Of course, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I know a lot of new viewers come in every week from the podcast, so subscribe if you're not already. Of course, I'm joined with Mitch. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. These videos are coming out strong. They're coming out hard. They're coming out fast. If you guys notice in the background, yes, I have a Dallas Cowboys jersey in the background, and it's not for Dylan, but it's for some upcoming videos that I'm going to be releasing. I might even release one today, depending on how the podcast goes. I might release one tonight that's already finished. I could just put it out there if I want, and I'll probably have another one out tomorrow. So a couple fantasy football videos coming out. We haven't done any so far this offseason, so getting into that kind of area and space as well going into the 2019 season. So I'm excited because the NBA is over, Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
NHL is over. Bro,
it's a couple days ago. It is football time. We're waiting. We're anticipating. For me, it's still baseball time. But we are close to the football season. All the big headlines are out. No more championships until football is here. I will address this now. I'm not at my house. I'm actually house sitting for a couple of days here, and you don't know these people, and you don't need to know these people. So I know it's a little weird looking at this background, but I'm just here for one day. Or like filming for one day. But we're here. We're excited. More football talk. Of course, those fantasy football videos are here, and you're going to get 2 solo videos based from this large video for 2 different lists. 2 lists that we usually come out with every single year. We're going to start this podcast off with these lists. We talk about the top 5 candidates for offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Also, there is no Kev today. He couldn't make it, but he will be back hopefully soon. He will be back in 2 weeks for the big episode 10, where we will have a special guest with a big time prize involved for the big time game I have played 2 weeks from now. You don't want to miss that episode. It's a big milestone episode, so don't miss it.
By the way, I'm winning that game. It's already set in stone.
Hey, I'm not playing this game, so I'm not going to cheer for anybody. But if he's got his NFL history knowledge, on the top of his head, he could win this game. I'm just saying, never know. All right, so let's get into our big 2 videos for today. We're going to start off with the top 5 candidates for offensive rookie of the year. Both lists usually come out every year. Either one of us makes it, but we're going to do both of our lists. And since it's both of us, we'll go 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. I think this is a pretty loaded class, more on the defensive side than the offensive side this year. But I think there are plenty of guys that could have great seasons, especially in the offensive side. So we're going to start here with the offensive rookie of the year list first. And let's go ahead and get into it. So I'll go first and then Mitch. So at number 5, I have TJ Hawkinson, the new tight end for the Detroit Lions. Now, tight ends don't typically win this award, like ever. The only person to ever win this award was Mike Ditka in his rookie year, and that means you got to produce a lot to get here. But when I was looking at the offensive side, especially in the first round, typically when you win this award as a first round guy, I'm looking at guys that can be used in the offense in a way that's going to help them or help their numbers to get this rookie of the year. And I think with a guy like TJ Hawkinson, he has a quarterback with Matthew Stafford that is going to be looking at all the ways down the field. He's going to look at every single receiver. He has certain targets he's going to like. And when you draft a tight end with the number 8 pick, you have a high level of confidence in this guy. And I think he's going to be a big target for Stafford. I think, honestly, he could lead the team in targets this year. So if it's that case, he's going to be, down the field, getting those red zone catches. I could see something good in TJ Hawkinson this year. I don't know if he's going to win this award because tight ends are very rare to win it, but I think the offensive production could be there, and having a QB like Matthew Stafford, I think can go hand in hand with each other. So at number 5, I have TJ Hawkinson, the tight end of the Detroit Lions. Mitch, who do you have here at your number 5 spot?
At number 5, so with my list, I'm thinking about the potential to break out and have a huge season. So the first guy that really came to my mind was actually a player that could be completely eliminated if Todd Gurley stays healthy. But if Todd Gurley doesn't play, Darrell Henderson is going to be the starting running back of the LA Rams. So if you're the starting running back for Sean McVay's offense and the LA Rams offense, you have a good chance of winning Rookie of the Year. I don't care who you are, whether you're a guy off the street or a guy that just got drafted. So if Henderson does end up playing a lot in place of Todd Gurley, then I think he has a really good outside chance of winning this award. That's why I have him here at number 5.
Interesting. I did not have a thought for that. So, okay. All right. Interesting. Number 4 is going to be very positive to Mitch's team. N'Keal Harry here, the wide receiver for the New England Patriots, I have here at number 4. He's going into this Patriots offense that still has a lot of life in it, is one of the better offenses in the game. And with Tom Brady there, he's going to be looking for new weapons. He's going to be looking for ways to implement him in the offense. And I think with a guy like N'Keal Harry, the last pick in the draft, or the last pick in the first round of the draft, I think was a big steal. And I think a lot of other teams could have benefited from having him as well. So I think the combination of Brady having him in this Patriots offense with Bill Belichick, he wants to focus on getting a bunch of different guys this opportunity. And I think N'Keal Harry has a great opportunity in New England here. So I could see him winning it here. Receivers have a decent chance of winning this award. Not the best chance. Running backs usually have the best chance. But I think N'Keal Harry has a decent one here with this system in the Patriots. So I have him here at number 4.
I do not have N'Keal Harry on my list because he's a wide receiver. That's really the only reason. I think if a wide receiver was to win the award, it would be N'Keal Harry, though. So I don't disagree with the pick. He's in my honorable mentions. At number 4, I have the Chicago Bears rookie running back, David Montgomery. Montgomery, he has a good chance of replacing Jordan Howard in the role as their lead running back. So on a really good team with the Bears, a team that likes to run the football, a pretty dynamic offense under Matt Nagy, if Montgomery is given that role to be the new Jordan Howard, I don't see Tariq Cohen being that guy because he's just too small. He can't really take the impact of all those carries. It could potentially be Davis, but I think Montgomery has the highest ceiling out of all these running backs to replace Jordan Howard in that role. And if he has like 1,000 yards or something like that on a really good team that's expected to go to the playoffs, he has a good chance of making and winning this award. Plus, the fantasy community does love him. He's getting a lot of hype there. So I see it with Montgomery at number 4.
Nice. Very nice. I again, not a guy that I have on my list. I feel like we're going to differ a little bit here, but I like that pick. By the way, the producer, Jake Barton, is in the chat. I can't believe it's been a long time. He said, "What's up, Dilly?" And he says, "Like the shirt, Mitch. You're looking like a scout or something." He's ready for the Patriots.
They call me Nick Caserio, bro.
Jeez.
The new Texans GM that we're getting a draft pick off of because the Texans are idiots.
You can go rant on that. Number 3 for my list here. I like this guy, even though he is for a rival team. I think he is the second best quarterback in this draft, Dwayne Haskins. I think what the Redskins are doing is interesting. I don't know if they're really hyped up at all. I think they're a little bit underrated. I know a lot of people in our underrated list were like, put those Redskins in there. Like, why didn't you have them? And I can see it to an extent. I feel like, there is a little bit of QB situation with Case Keenum. I feel obviously he's better, but they signed him to a 2-year contract, so they might start Case. So I have him here at 3. But I really like what Dwayne Haskins has provided in Ohio State, especially the second half of his year. I think he got better. And as more experience comes down the line, he's going to learn very valuable lessons. And I think with this rookie campaign, if he's able to start week 1 and is given the keys, I think he can lead this team to a pretty decent season. So I think with his production and getting better as the season goes on, I think he has a good chance of winning this award. So at number 3 is Dwayne Haskins.
At number 3, I have running back of the Oakland Raiders, Josh Jacobs. I have Jacobs at 3 because I think the Raiders are going to be a pass-first team, and I don't know how good the Raiders are going to be. Like, they could be a team that make a run for the wild card spot, or they could be a team that's picking in the top 5 in the draft. We really don't know with the Raiders, but Jacobs, he was the number 1 running back taken in the draft. He's going to get those carries. He's going to get those touches. He really doesn't have a great backup behind him, so he's going to have all the opportunity in the world. He's definitely, outside of the quarterback position, the top rookie of the year candidate. And I don't think he's like as great as some of these other top running backs that have come out in the draft in recent seasons, but he's still the one this year that has the best chance. So I have him here for an offense that's going to be pretty good at the very least in the Oakland Raiders, Josh Jacobs.
Sorry if you can hear this. The dog's drinking water and it's very loud. But yeah,
I can't hear it.
I have. You can hear it? Okay.
No, I can't.
Oh, okay, good. It's just really loud for me. I don't know. I do like that pick because at number 2, I have Josh Jacobs, the running back from Alabama, to the Oakland Raiders here. I was looking at the Raiders draft picks, and I'm like, I feel like if there's going to be one offensive player they're going to get, it's Josh Jacobs, and they did so. They filled that need at running back, not getting the biggest star, but they drafted a guy that I think has a lot of potential, and running backs are the most likely to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That also helped his stock a little bit. Like you said, he's not the, like the last couple of drafts have had a lot of running backs, a lot of quality running backs that are leading the group. Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, etc. Those guys are really early in the draft, and this guy was taken towards the end of the first round. But he is the most hyped up running back in this class, and I think he is going to get the most touches considering where he's at in Oakland. He's going to get the most opportunities to prove that he is a good running back and worth that pick for the Raiders. When some of us might have said, let's go get 3 defensive players, considering how not great that defense was last year. So I think he has a lot to prove, but I think he's going to get the biggest opportunity out of anybody here in terms of running back production. And that's why I have him here at number 2. And I think he can do well here. So Josh Jacobs, number 2 spot.
At number 2, predictably, I have Dwayne Haskins of the Washington Redskins because, look, he may even start this season. And if he does, he goes on to start, or even if he plays like, let's say, 12 games, I think he has a good chance of winning this award. First and foremost, the NFL wants to give this award to a quarterback. Yep. It's just the way it is. And if Haskins can come in and prove that he has a decent season, I think he's the best physically out of all the quarterbacks the Redskins have. He just needs to produce a little bit, get some wins under his belt for the Redskins, a team that can be sneaky. They should at the very least finish 3rd in their division and maybe compete down the line. I mean, they've been a very injured team, so it's kind of hard to predict what we're going to get out of the Redskins this season. But if Haskins can come in there and be a player that shows promise and make some plays, and maybe he's completing some deep passes, I don't think he's going to have to do a ton if he does become the Redskins' kind of starting quarterback, because they are going to be a run-first offense, and he's going to have those opportunities to take his shots down the field and hopefully connect with them. But Dwayne Haskins, I think it's a quarterback award first and foremost. He's the second best quarterback coming out of the draft. I believe he has a chance at this award. Simple as that.
Makes a lot of sense to me. That's why he was here at number 3 for me. I don't think I'm going to see any big curveball here with our number 1 selection. I think we both have Kyler Murray as our number 1 selection. I'll just go ahead and
Can you tell us why, Dilly Vanilli? Why do we have Kyler Murray first?
Kyler Murray, thank you for asking that question, Mitch. Kyler Murray is a very athletic quarterback, a very versatile quarterback, somebody that we saw in Oklahoma absolutely light it up, and obviously he won the Heisman for a reason. He did so much for his team there, and with Arizona, with Cliff Kingsbury being like, let's get rid of Josh Rosen, we're going to get Kyler Murray. You have to have a lot of trust in this guy. He's given him the full reins to whatever this team is, a very young team with new receivers like Andy Isabella. I'm trying to think of that other receiver off the top of my head. I'm kind of blanking at the moment.
Hakeem Butler.
Hakeem Butler, thank you.
He still has Larry Fitzgerald.
Also has Larry Fitzgerald.
He still has David friggin' Johnson.
Wait, that's more of an offensive line situation because I feel like he is a top 5 running back. Just that offensive line is terrible.
Well, the thing I am confident in is that their offensive scheme should at least be better. I mean, you brought this guy in to run your offense and to specifically run it with Kyler Murray. So, I mean, come on. It should be there.
You gotta have some kind of like hope that this guy is gonna do well. And Cliff Kingsbury said this in October of last year, where he's like, if I was an NFL coach, I'd be picking him number 1 overall. So he knew the confidence back then. He got his quarterback, he got his wishes, he got his team. So I think this is a very young offensive mind and a very young offensive team, minus Larry Fitzgerald, but you're getting one more year out of a great veteran there. And I think with what Kyler Murray's brought to the table in his college years, I think it's going to be a great year. I feel like he's going to have a really, really good season. Certainly much better than Josh Rosen's rookie year in Arizona. So
I'm extremely excited to see how they utilize Kyler Murray's legs along with David Johnson, because I think you can do a lot of creative things with those two players in the backfield that are going to be tough to stop, and defensive coordinators are going to have to scheme against. And then that's going to open the passing game up. That's what I think is going to happen, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely get our opportunities to see that this year. So, all right, that is our list for the top 5 offensive rookies of the year. If you guys
sorry. I think we should cover the Dallas Cowboys breaking news and the New England Patriots breaking news.
Well, both of them have to do with tight ends, so I find that interesting. All right. Just by the way, for the solo video, smash the like button. But okay, so with Cowboys news, Rico Gathers, the tight end that nobody likes and nobody thinks is good except for the Cowboys organization, is being suspended for the first game of the 2019 regular season for violating the NFL's policy and program on substance abuse. It comes from when he got arrested for marijuana. Great. First of all, he's just adding to this.
Is he gonna get cut? Can this guy just get cut?
I wish he would.
I don't know how he's been on the team. He doesn't do anything.
He must have something incriminating within the front office, because otherwise, why? He has had no production. I think last year he had 2 catches. Seriously.
He literally doesn't play. I don't understand why he's on the team.
We have a lack of depth at tight end. I don't know.
We got the great Jason Witten back in the lineup, bro.
He must have think Eric Ebron was Patrick Mahomes' favorite target last year. God damn. It really annoys me, though, because, as a Cowboys fan, Rico Gathers to anybody else outside of either really hardcore NFL fans or a Dallas Cowboys fan, nobody knows who he is.
I only know him as the Cowboys, little pony that they thinks going to be really good. He's 6'7". He has all the measurables. He's crappy player.
It's just every broadcast. Did you know he went to Baylor and played basketball? Yes, I know. I've watched it. It's the Chris Hogan thing with lacrosse all over again. You've told me before, and that's all his attributes. He played basketball. He can really go. And then he's going to be this red zone target because he can jump in the air and get it over guys. And then he can't even do that. Please cut this guy. He's not worth it. I don't care if we're lacking in tight end potential. It's not worth it. And now he's getting suspended. So what's even his cost? What's even his worth at this point?
Okay, Michael Roberts. I did a video on him yesterday, expecting the Patriots to get him in a trade. And now I don't even understand what just happened. So Adam Schefter says that Michael Roberts is reverted back to the team's roster per trade conditions. The Lions announced that they have waived Roberts. So I'm guessing that he's on waivers. Now teams have a chance to pick him up. So I don't know if that means the Patriots are going to go out there and sign him and basically get him for free. I don't understand who made the mistake here. Was it the Lions making the mistake? Was the trade didn't go through properly? But by the way, guys, thanks for supporting that video, giving it, all the love. But I don't know. I feel like kind of a dummy a little bit, but at least it got some views. At least it got some likes and comments. So I appreciate going out there and supporting the video. But overall, I would still like to see the Patriots sign him, because obviously you're not having to give up anything now, because I still think he would be kind of a guy that would be an interesting project in camp if they were able to sign him, because he does bring that skill set of a red zone guy that potentially could help the team. But either way, it's not a big loss either way for either team. But I'm just saying it's kind of a weird situation. I've almost never seen this before, where a guy gets traded one day and then he doesn't even get to the team's facility and he's revoked. I don't understand this. But anyways, that's my take on it.
It would be a really cheap contract. It would be worth it. Sorry for that sound, guys. I was charging my laptop and then it just 5 seconds. I apologize for that. All right, there you go. There's our Cowboys and Patriots news. We got to figure that out in there. Next up is our top 5 candidates for defensive rookie of the year. This one I think is a little bit more exciting because there's a lot of big players, a lot of great talent here This is what this draft was basically. The backbone of this draft was built on the defensive players, especially the defensive line with the edge rushers and all that stuff. I think we're going to see maybe the same players, but maybe different rankings. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what we have here. So I'm going to let you start off on this one. What do you got at number 5?
All right. At number 5, I have Devin Bush of the Pittsburgh Steelers because, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been waiting for a Ryan Shazier replacement. That's what they get in Devin Bush. We talked about how much of an impact this guy will have on the defense when it comes to playing all 3 downs, when it comes to being the cover linebacker that they need on 3rd down, when it comes to just everything. I mean, he's going to be able to blitz in this scheme. We know that Pittsburgh does a really good job with linebackers and kind of elevating their play with the scheme that they have, the Blitzburg scheme. So he has a chance to kind of rack up some sacks, rack up tackles. He's perfect for their 3-4 defense. He's going to have the stats, like I said, and I think he's going to be a leader from day one, which is going to, I think the Steeler fans are going to embrace him from day one. So I'm thinking about not only the play on the field, but also the intangibles that make a defensive player or defensive rookie of the year. And that is what Devin Bush brings to the Steelers right away.
Funny you say that, because at number 5, I have Devin Bush, the linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like what he brings to the table. Of course, with no Ryan Shazier, as Mitch brought up, they've been lacking at this position for the last year and a half and needing that leadership a little bit. And bringing in like a guy like Devin Bush, I think is going to really help this team, especially on the defensive side. He plays on the defense. But I think overall what he brings is a little bit of energy, a little bit of finesse that the linebacker position has been lacking here for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a while. And having him be here with the pick that they got, I think was a steal, considering they got him. They traded up a little bit to get him, and they wanted this guy. Like they put their money, all their chips, for this guy to work, and I think he is going to help that linebacker crew a lot. So number 5, I have Devin Bush. Number 4, what do you got?
At number 4, I have the other Devin White.
There you go, Devin White.
Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Similar reasons. I think he's going to come in and be the leader of this defense, and that's why they drafted him. I think he's one of the most promising linebackers coming out of the draft in years. He's going to be a tackle machine. I think the Bucs defense is going to suck. And if it's any better than I think it's going to be because Devin White is going to be a huge part of that, which elevates his case for the award. Yeah, I just think he's going to be a really good player right away. I don't really think he's going to have much of a learning curve in terms of getting into the lineup and then performing. And I just think he's going to be a really good player. So Devin White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like it. I don't have him on my list, but he is a very high honorable mention. I'm a big fan of linebackers, so I would put him at this number 6 spot.
The thing about linebackers is it's an award that's like kind of stapled in our mind, like in terms of giving it the defensive like rookie of the year or player of the year, or like the impact of a defense. Like everybody like looks at linebackers for the award. Plus, if they get like a lot of tackles, which a lot of younger linebackers tend to do, then there's a good chance that they win the award, so. Yeah,
Darius Leonard and Leighton Vander Esch were rookies last year, and they had 3 highest tackles.
Exactly.
So definitely agree with that point there. At number 4, I have Ed Oliver for the Buffalo Bills. I think they got a steal here, considering the Giants should have taken Ed Oliver. And the Bills are just adding to their defense. It was absolutely a fantastic pick. This guy's a beast. I know a lot of people don't watch Houston games, like Houston college teams. What does that say? Oh, Jesus. That's hurtful. That's for the Giants, though. That's definitely for the Giants. Like nobody really watches Houston games, but if you ever watched it or if you watched highlight reels, you're like, damn, this guy is a huge, like a monster on the field. He just, you circle him in. You're like, this is the guy that's going to bring this team down or bring the offense down. And with Ed Oliver and this Bills defense, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do this year. And I think he has great potential here. At the defensive line, I think they can do really well this year. And Ed Oliver, I think, has a high chance. Again, this is a very loaded class for rookies on the defensive side. So putting Ed Oliver at 4, where most years he could be number 2 and number 1, it is hard to do. But for me, he's over here at number 4.
At number 3, I have Ed Oliver of the Buffalo Bills.
There we go.
I have Ed Oliver because, look, the Bills defense last year was top 2 in the league, or top 3 statistically. So, and first in pass defense. They add Ed Oliver there. He's going to be a part of one of the better defenses in the NFL right away. He's going to be one of the big contributors pass rushing wise. He might be able to put up a lot of sacks. And if the Bills do well, like I expect them to, where they're borderline playoffs, he'll definitely get a lot of attention for the award. So Ed Oliver, I think just on that defensive line, he's going to, and Sean McDermott's a great coordinator. He'll know how to use him right away. I don't think he's a project like somebody in our comments is saying. I think he's going to be a very good player. And I think he's here at number 3.
Is he a Rico Gathers project?
No.
No, he's infinitely better. Okay, here at number 3 might surprise people considering he's the number 2 pick in the draft and the highest picked defensive player. But I'll explain. Nick Bosa is here at number 3 for me. I really like what Nick Bosa brings. I think he is a very athletic guy. If you watch this tape at Ohio State, I mean, he was making crazy plays, and you're like, man, this Bosa family with Joey Bosa is like, it's crazy how much they can provide to their teams. I have him here at number 3 because San Francisco is going to have a really good defense, I think, this year, and I think their defensive line is going to do well. But I feel like the other 2 guys are going to stand out on their own teams. I know it's a weird comparison, or it's weird to say without telling you who the number 1 and number 2 picks are, but I feel like they're just going to have a greater impact on their defense as a whole based on their one player. You know, as an 11-group team, there's only certain things that you can do to stand out. So I think Nick Bosa is going to do well. I think he'll have a decent amount of sacks this year, but I still have him here at number 3. I think he's going to be one of the better defensive rookies here.
At number 2, I have Nick Bosa. Reason why I have Nick Bosa at number 2 is because he's probably going to have a lot of sacks. So if you want to win an award that's defense in the NFL, get a lot of sacks. So that's what Nick Bosa is going to do. I think he's going to have around 10 sacks right away. The reason why I don't have him number 1 is because he's probably going to get injured like he already has. Yeah. So the Bosas are known for getting injured, and Nick Bosa even more so than Joey Bosa. So that being said, I think he'll probably miss at least 4 games this year, which is going to hurt his chance for winning the award. But when he's on the field, you could argue he is number 1. But overall, he's just, I think his game transfers to the NFL right away. When he's playing, he's going to be an absolute force as a pass rusher. So I look forward to seeing him play. And I think the 49ers will be good. I think they'll be in the playoffs, like I've said many times, which is going to help his case as well.
Yeah, I got to agree there. Now, I'm assuming that this guy isn't even on your list here at number 2, which is interesting for me.
Wait, maybe.
Most likely. Josh Allen.
He's not on my list.
Okay.
You want me to give a reason why?
Yeah, give me a reason.
I don't think he's going to play enough.
I think with what
if he's a pass rusher, which they said he is, he's going to be a rotation player. Because I don't see him starting very much. Because that defensive line is so good. I don't know how much he's going to actually play.
I think if you're gonna take him with, here's the thing, the Jaguars never expected to get Josh Allen. You know, with how the draft was setting up here, they never thought come number 7, Josh Allen was going to be on the board. But I feel like if you took that risk, you took who the best player available was, which many GMs think that is the reason to go to, and not, get the need, you get the best player available.
Yeah.
I think they really want to implement him in this defense, and I think they are going to try their very best to do so. I agree that they will probably take some snaps away. They do have a very loaded defensive line, but we've seen, some issues with what's going on with the Jaguars. Telvin Smith's gone for a year. I know he's a linebacker, but that is going to hurt their defense a little bit. And Ngakoue hasn't shown up for mini camp. He's still waiting for a contract, so it could be a little bit of a dispute there. I feel like if you're going to invest that number 7 pick and get that best player available, even if you weren't expecting it, you're going to put in the work for Josh Allen. And I really like what I saw of him in Kentucky. I think he is an absolute beast. And I feel like people should be talking about him a little bit more personally. But that's why I have him here at number 2. And once again, I think we have the exact same number 1. But since you're first, I'll let you go ahead and explain why.
I am picking the guy that was so happy about meeting people on his ultimate team the first day he got to the team, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is one of the best interior defensive line prospects I've ever seen coming out of the draft. He's going to be a force from day one because he really doesn't have any flaws in his game. I think he's going to be a great pass rusher. He's going to be a great run stuffer. I think he could instantly lead the Jets in sacks this season. And if the Jets, with all that hype surrounding them, it's in New York, he's going to get a lot of media attention. If he does lead the Jets in sacks, if he does, lead the Jets in kind of being the best defensive player on the team right away, which I think he probably could be, other than maybe Jamal Adams, this guy's just going to be a beast. I can't really say much else, and he has a good attitude. I think he's going to fit in right away. I think everyone's going to love him right away. Nothing really bad to say about him. I just think overall he probably is the leading horse in this race right now.
First off, one of my best and favorite personalities since being drafted. He literally said "bless you" to himself in an interview. Second, he's being compared to Aaron Donald. If you're being compared to Aaron Donald, I think you're doing something right. I mean, personally, I don't know, but I think you're doing well. And third, he's huge. He's massive. I mean, this guy is one of the biggest defensive linemen out there. He is a great run stopper. You saw what he did in Alabama. I think he's going to have a crazy season. And for the Jets, that have a couple of great defensive pieces, especially in their secondary. I think here they needed that defensive line help, and this guy is definitely going to come in year 1 and make the biggest impact. When I'm looking at number 1, who's going to make the biggest impact for their team going forward and what they need in 2019? And I think Quinnen Williams is going to do the most out of any defensive rookie. Again, a lot of great guys, even guys that were honorable mentions on our group, probably could still make a top 5 in most years, but with Quinnen Williams leading the pack, I think he's going to be one of the higher-rated defensive guys here, and I really like what he's provided in Alabama and what I think he can do in New York. So that's why I think we both have him here at number 1. So for those guys watching solo, like the video, comment who your top 5 defensive rookies are, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. All right, those are our videos. Those are our solo stuff. Let's go to comments here. If you have any questions here, we'll get into comments, and then we'll go through some more headlines a little bit later on.
We need to get Jake on the podcast.
Jake, bro, if you want to join, we need a little bit of guests. We're getting some guests here. I'd definitely like to have Jake Barton on the episode. Because, of course, he is a Chiefs fan. There's a couple of things going on with the Chiefs. So
yeah,
Jake,
a lot of things.
a lot of things. So Chief, Jake, if you want to be on, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Chorister Can't comes in here. First comment says the skins suck. I mean, Jesus, not even giving it.
He's aggressive.
He's very
too aggressive for my liking.
Go Skittle says I could see Oakland having a top 10 offense. Agree or disagree?
I could see that.
You can see it. I mean, you put AB on a
They
team.
have the talent. I mean, go through their offense and tell me what they don't have.
Offensively, they have pretty much everything.
Exactly.
Maybe 1 or 2 pieces on the offensive line. That's about it.
Really, look at their offensive line. Like, what's wrong with it? I feel like it's top 10. Look at it.
I mean, I don't know. But again, this is a team that has a lot of hype, and they were on my overrated list.
The thing that would be holding them back, in my opinion, is Derek Carr, like, if anything. Yeah. And I think Derek Carr will be decent this year. I mean, maybe Colton Miller hasn't fully developed yet. He's their left tackle, but he should be better this year. Richie Incognito, I know he took a season off, but he was like an elite player when he retired.
And he's old.
Rodney Hudson is a beast. Gabe Jackson is pretty good. And Trent Brown is a right tackle who's good. So, I mean, that's at least a decent
I just have a couple
offense.
of problems. Like Trent Brown was a lot of money, and I hope he does.
It doesn't matter. I don't. Why does the amount of good matter for the money?
It does. Because if he doesn't put up that production, it's a total waste.
He's going to be good. At the very least, he's going to be good. Like, I'm not saying great.
But wouldn't you want him to be great for how much money they gave him?
He might be great.
I'm not saying he's not going to be good at all. Like, I think he can be. I'm wary of it. I'm looking.
And then they have Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams, JJ Nelson, my boy, the 42-year-old slot receiver, Hunter Renfrow.
Hey.
They have a bunch of guys here. And then they have Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs. I mean, John Gruden offense. They should be around the top half of the league. And if they're not, that's disappointing.
Huge disappointment. We talked about Josh Jacobs earlier. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. AB, when you put AB in an offense, you're expected to do something. I feel like the biggest question mark for me is Derek Carr. What is he going to do? Is he going to be the quarterback that steps up in this big moment, or does he disappoint? That's what I want to see. Raiders got on Hard Knocks. Dilly. Yes. Well, let's go ahead and talk about this, since somebody's already brought this up in the chat. The Raiders have been announced for Hard Knocks. Now, personally,
when I like a little bit of drama, ever to happen.
It is the greatest thing because I like a little bit of popcorn action. I like watching 4 or 5 episodes of backstage, kind of stuff with football teams. The Browns had one of the best Hard Knocks seasons last year. It was a great look into what they were about to build. And I know that's completely changed now, but seeing, Baker and all that stuff. But now we're going to get to see the biggest personalities and some of the biggest guys that always get in the biggest headlines in the season go into it in Hard Knocks. I can't wait. You got AB.
Amazing.
We got AB.
I cannot wait for Antonio Brown and Vontaze Burfict. I cannot wait for that.
There's going to be one practice where AB gets hit a little too hard by Vontaze Burfict, and they're going to get in a full-on fist
fight. Cannot wait for Richie Incognito scenes.
I can't wait for John Gruden to see what he's.
I cannot wait for John Gruden pretending like he likes this whole Hard Knocks idea. I cannot wait for Hunter Renfrow and everybody seeing him for the first time being like, bro, where's your hair at? I can't wait.
He's going to be like, it's like Carl Nassib last year when he was the big meme guy. I feel like Hunter Renfrow is going to be this guy,
I can't wait for John Gruden, one day being like, this offense is amazing. And then the other day being like, we need to cut everybody on this team.
There's just so many personalities. That's why I like the idea of having everybody's like, bro, get the Raiders on now. And with all these personalities, oh God, Richie Incognito is going to be a disaster. Just watching him, I feel like it's going to be a complete disaster.
I'm like Bart Scott right now. Nathan Peterman, bro. I cannot wait for the Nathan Peterman video where they have him can he make the team? The worst quarterback in the history of football. Will he be able to make the team?
He's the David Cajuste of the season. He's gonna be sitting out there. It's really dramatic lighting, and they're like, Nathan Peterman. Nobody understands the mind of Nathan Peterman. It's gonna be so good, guys. Honestly, I might consider doing reviews for this show, for this season. I don't know about you, but I would totally be down to watch this. Basically, just all the drama that we want from the NFL right there in front of our faces. Cannot wait. There's our reactions to it. Darrell Henderson is such a sleeper. He's basically Alvin Kamara. Says go Skittle. Interesting. That's a big comparison. Alvin Kamara is one of the most versatile running backs in the game. I don't know. Jake says, I think Oakland will put up good numbers for sure, but he doesn't know what to expect in the win-loss category, which I agree a lot with. Bob Money says Oakland will win 4 games. That will suck if
they'll win more than 4 games.
They do have the hardest schedule in the NFL. That is the biggest.
I know. I'm saying they at least win 6 games.
Yeah, I can see.
It would be embarrassing if they won 4 games. Total embarrassment.
Because how much conning we did on them last year to go 4 wins again with all the improvements on their roster. Damn.
The best there is. The best there was.
No.
And the best there ever will be. Brett the Hitman Hart.
Dylan Villa has left the chat. No. Absolutely not putting this man over. Bob Money says Derek Carr gets replaced this year. Well, it won't be this year, but it could be the year after. Ghost Skittle says Arizona will also have a top 10 offense to get a wild card spot. Now that is a bold prediction, Ghost, which I don't know.
I wonder who this Bret Hart guy actually is.
It's Bret Hart himself. Well, no, it can't be Bret Hart because he's very sour about everything. Bret Hart always wants him to be put over. So
yeah,
if anybody wants to say, maybe you just tell us one day who you are. Who are you?
Are those your wedding photos, Dylan, behind you?
Oh yeah. I got married a year ago.
You know what's crazy? I went to my buddy's wedding the other day. First wedding I've ever attended where I was actually the friend of the person. I felt old as hell. Bro, this guy's 22. He got married. I think that's crazy.
Damn, that's young.
I love him, but I think that's crazy.
22. Bro.
And I felt old.
I'm about to be 20 in a month. Like I know you're older. Oh wait, no, there's the camera. I know you're older than me, but about to be turning.
Still,
20.
like imagine yourself 2 or 3 years from now, because I'm turning 23, and being in that, like being at a wedding for your friend.
Nah, bro, I can't even cook shit. Like I can't even cook for my own self. And then imagine having to get married in 2 years. No.
And then I'm like going on Instagram after the wedding, seeing these people that I still think are 6 years old graduating. Like, what is this?
It's too much, man. It's too much. We're going way too fast. Life is going crazy. By the end of it, boom, there's the season, and then the next season's gone. Oh my god, it's crazy when you think about it.
Because I'm still the dude that thinks it's 2007.
But I'm
still like, oh yeah, 2005 was like 3 years ago.
Guys, put on Friday Night SmackDown and fucking we're gonna have a little party together, bro. Oh my god. I was 8 in 2007 and I'm about to be 20. Oh. I don't like that. I don't like that. Back to the comments. Jake says, don't forget about Christian Kirk, Ghost says. Yes, about the Arizona offense. Jake says, my best friend's a Niners fan and another close friend is a Raiders fan. So I'm used to seeing y'all trash talk each other. Okay, makes sense. And of course, he doesn't want his boy Patrick Mahomes to get the curse, the Madden curse.
The curse hasn't been a big deal lately. I mean, Antonio Brown sort of got struck with it last year.
He got struck with a little bit. Who was the year before that?
Brady. He won the MVP. He lost the Super Bowl.
Lost the Super Bowl.
Is that a curse?
I know. It's like we're gonna pick Apple.
That might just be Tom Brady, though. I don't know.
You still want to be? I like. We're just picking apples to oranges at that point. It's like, oh, come on now. Like he still did everything in his power. Gronk, he got injured a little after. Odell.
Yeah, Gronk got injured.
So Odell, I think, tore his ACL the season after, and if it wasn't, he tore the ACL the year after. I don't know. It hasn't been as highly publicized as
it hasn't really been as big of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't. Obviously, I don't want anybody to be like down. I mean, he averaged 3 touchdowns a game last year. What more do you want?
What did you think of the Raptors winning the NBA title?
Hey, good for them. Good for Toronto to finally win the championship. I do feel bad for Durant and Clay though. That is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's.
But Kawhi is the beast. Like screw Skip for whatever he says about number 2. Like Kawhi is one of the greatest trades in NBA history. You got to say that now. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. I still think he's the second best player in the league because I think if Durant would have played, the Warriors would have won. But he's the greatest Raptor of all time. Absolutely. I'm happy for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Raptors fan. Like, honestly, I was just cheering for a good series. Like, if I'm being completely honest with you, everyone around me was cheering for the Raptors. I was just cheering for a good series. Like, even last game, I was cheering for the Warriors to win so that it would go to Game 7, and then the Raptors could win in Game 7. Because if I'm being honest with you, I was impressed with the Warriors without Clay and without Durant, how well they were playing.
They tried. I mean, they only lost.
Like they put their heart into it. And if Curry makes that shot like 7 out of 10 times at the end there, they would have won that game. So, I mean, it was a really good series. It was a fun series. And it was probably my favorite in a couple of years. So, I mean, I'm happy for the city of Toronto because I lived there for like most of the year. And it's like cool to see Toronto over these past 10 years has like elevated as an international city that everybody knows around the world. So it's cool that they've kind of added another thing to that list. So it's cool for Toronto. I'm not really happy for the Raptors. Like, I don't really care because I'm a Lakers fan, but you know, it's fun.
But you know what? The best thing about this news that the Raptors won is that Drake is releasing new music.
There we go.
I can't wait. No, I'm kidding. I am actually looking forward to that. But in terms of the Raptors, I mean, again, I'm a Mavericks fan. I had no interest. Literally, you couldn't be more polar opposite in any way from the Dallas Mavericks to the Toronto Raptors in terms of like area. But I was excited to watch a different series because the last 2 years have been really boring with the Cavs and the Warriors. So seeing the Raptors get in there, have Kawhi Leonard, a whole bunch of different storylines going in. Game 5 was one of the most fun games I've watched in the last decade.
Now the question is, will Kawhi
stay?
Drake's like, you got it, Kawhi. You got it.
I like that. I honestly, like, at one sense, it's like he's already done what he needed to accomplish in his run in Toronto. Does he need to stay there? But at the same time, it's like, why not? You know? Like, unless if you're going to build this super team or he's going to the super team, I don't see a reason why he needs to leave. I think he built this chemistry with Kyle Lowry, with Van Vliet, with all those guys.
No, we're not doing a Drake album. I mean, maybe on the podcast for fun, we could do a Drake album review. Yeah. Maybe on the podcast.
Hey, shout out to the 40 people that watched the Views album review that we did like 3 years ago. You can get that, which, by the way, UMG took down because we used the freaking album cover. That was dumb. But yeah, you know, I own 2 vinyls of Drake on you know, who doesn't love that good little Drake? All right, back to comments. Let's see if we got anything. No, there has not been a Cowboys deal with Dak yet. I'm expecting big money. I'm also expecting to be a little bit disappointed because that is a lot of money that I don't know about yet. We'll kind of see. If it's $34 million, I'll just absolutely die. Let's see. Ghost Skittle says Devin Bush is overhyped. Good, not great.
Well, if he's good, I still think it's worth the pick.
Yeah.
How many first round picks are actually great? Like, you're happy with a good player.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with a guy like Devin Bush, like, the Steelers needed him. Like, I feel like if there was any one of those 5 guys that we mentioned on our defensive side, the Steelers wanted to get Devin Bush the most out of anybody. They were craving to get a guy. They traded up for him. So if he's going to be good for this team, like, I think they'll be pretty happy, personally. He said he's Devin White light. Well, that's a little messed up there. Goes to Ed Oliver's a project. I absolutely disagree. He's not a project. There's the comments about Nick Bosa always being injury prone. Agreed. Sacks are a big contribution to winning. It's nuts. It's like 80% of the time, whichever team gets the most sacks wins. So Bosa will for sure make
the Chiefs lost him.
Oh, that's messed up. This is from Jake too. That's
I know.
It's very messed up.
But they led the league in sacks last year, right?
I think so, yeah. With a solid Chris Jones. You see what I did there? Any big reference. People still getting mad about that. Let's see what else we got here. Bob says Oakland is a huge dumpster. I feel like if you said that last year, maybe, but they've changed, right? Oh, gosh. Okay. My screen has been messing up all day today. What else we got here?
A wrestling question.
Ooh, what's the wrestling question?
Do you think that CM Punk will go to AEW? I will say this. If I was him, I would. If I was him, I'd take the $2 million fucking dollars and wrestle for AEW. And I think if CM Punk did wrestle for AEW, it would actually put them sort of on the map. But I'm starting to dig this this conspiracy theory that WWE is actually in with AEW. I think it's real, bro.
I feel like first off, you're going off this because Vince Russo said it.
No, I think it's legit.
I don't know.
The more you think about it, I don't know.
I don't know. Let me answer the CM Punk question. CM Punk's my favorite wrestler of the modern era, but every fan needs to lay off this. It's been 5.5 years, man. Now, if Punk
he should. If you're thinking logically about CM Punk in his life right now, He should do this. He is not an MMA fighter. He's
No,
tried twice.
Like the way
retire from that. You're like 45, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Go wrestle for 2-3 years at AEW, make $2-3 million, and fucking call it a career. That's what I would do.
It's easy money. Because the hardcore fans will be like, holy shit, like, I want to see CM Punk.
Just don't, like CM Punk, and it's not like he has to, like, wrestle that style where he has to kill himself. Just wrestle a basic style, be safe. He's a star anyways. They need somebody like that. Like, Jericho isn't bringing anybody in, let's be honest. And Jericho's getting paid like $1 million.
They did do pretty well. According to whatever they said, it was like 100,000.
I'm waiting for the TV, though. I
am waiting for them. I did watch the pay-per-view for anybody that's interested. I actually watched Double or Nothing, not for $50. I wouldn't.
Because Dylan, I think if they want to draw, they need to bring in nostalgia, or they need to bring in like people that are known.
Well, let's be careful here. Let's not be TNA, okay? Because TNA did the same thing, and they got absolutely screwed for this. They just need.
TNA was on pace to doing pretty good stuff, though.
Well,
they just fucked it up.
They went against Monday Night competition.
Yeah, that's where they fucked up. They were at like 2 million viewers, and then they fucked it all up.
I'm interested to see what the first couple weeks of television do for AEW. Like, I'm interested to see.
You're not drawing anybody with Cody Rhodes as your top guy. Like, let's be honest. Like, you need to at least bring people to watch it so that they can realize that the other guys are good, if they're even good at all. Like, you know what I mean?
I think it's
like, I would sign Enzo.
I know.
They need a guy like that. They need a talker, dude. They have nothing. They have a bunch of Japanese wrestler guys.
It's not Japanese guys. I promise you that. I think they have some talent. They're building to something, but they do need somebody to bring in, get a little bit of more interest outside of this fan base that they're going to bring in regardless, because you've already got them. So you've already got them in. You know, you don't need to work on them. You've got that fan base. You need to bring something else in. But with Punk, it would be a very easy money contract. I wouldn't be mad about it. And of course, as he's my favorite wrestler of the modern era, I'd be happy to see him wrestle one more time. I just think he's done. I think he's done. But please, no more UFC. I'm done with all of your UFC pay-per-view fights. They were terrible and the huge disappointments. But I am looking for AEW to like at least see what they give me personally. But I'm not going to pay $50. You know, some people can chip in, but I'm not going to pay $50.
Do you know why they said it at $50?
Why?
Because they know the people that are actually going to pay for it are going to pay whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean?
If they got 100,000 pay-per-view buys, like they said, which is 40,000 more than TNA's biggest show, and they got $50 for that, huh?
I don't think they did, but I mean,
it's been reported. So if they even got close to that number, which is higher than TNA's ever done, for $50, easy money. All right, let's see what else we got here for comments, and then we'll get into our last little bit of headlines. Jake says BLV's going back to wrestling. Hell no. We will not. Okay, maybe we'll talk about it, but I will never do another.
That's why, like, this podcast, like, the part of the reason for the podcast is so we can talk about other shit, like, at times. So.
Because I promise you, I can never watch a 3-hour episode of Raw. In this day and age, it is the worst. I just basically look at anybody's Instagram comments. Oh yeah, they did bring in John. I
don't even know who that is.
Dean Ambrose.
Oh.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, but I mean, really, Dean Ambrose? Like, really?
He's got him. I mean, he's got a. I mean,
I guess that's better than nothing, but
better than nothing. They brought in somebody to start. It should be interesting. Okay, by the way, I am going to the New Japan show in a couple weeks.
They got to bring in like McGregor. Get McGregor in there.
What would Conor McGregor be doing in AEW? Like, I need to find, like, I don't even know if he knows, like.
He doesn't even need to wrestle. Just have him in there.
Yeah, you need to give him a shit ton of money, though. You know that. Like, if WWE.
Have him, like, every night, like, come out there and fight somebody legit. Just fucking smack somebody around.
Just get a little info in there.
Just cut a promo and leave every night.
Here's my contribution, a 5-minute promo, and then everybody's like, AEW, get in AEW. Like, I'd watch that.
Of course.
Let's see, anything else? All right, let's get into a couple more headlines here. I can't, like, the screen's frozen. You can still hear me though, right?
I can hear you. I don't know what the hell happened to you though.
All right, this is interesting. My screen.
Leave and come back.
All right. Oh, well, I can't. Well, it won't even let me click the button.
Oh,
Hold on. There we go. Perfect. We're back. All right. Apologies. I don't know. We're on a different Wi-Fi. It'll only happen once. I think we got like 2 or 3 more headlines, and then we'll read some more comments and be done. I think that is what we have here. So
okay.
The Jets have hired their new general manager. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, how the Jets fired their old GM that I can never pronounce his name correctly. And now they have decided to hire former Eagles, what was it, vice president of player relations or something like that? I can't remember.
Player personnel.
Player personnel. There we go. Joe Douglas. If you guys know, the Eagles themselves have done a very good job with player personnel over the last couple of years. They've gotten really good talent for very cheap contracts, and I think Joe Douglas has been a big part of that. And finding a GM that is worthy of the Jets title, I think is very crucial to their future going forward. So I think this was a very good hiring by the Jets. I'm still conflicted with what they're going in the future, and I think there are a lot of question marks with the Jets. But I think having a good GM is a very big step in the right direction. And Joe Douglas, I think, was first of all the most obvious hire they could have made, but I think the best hire they could have made. So what do you think about it?
I like it because first off, they needed to see like who is going to get along with Adam Gase, because Adam Gase is a big part of their future plans. Mm-hmm. But Joe Douglas, he has a really good track record. Like, just go to his Wikipedia. He was a scout for the Ravens for 14 years. And when the Ravens started in 2000, like, he was a part of the original group of the Ravens with Ozzie Newsome. And Ozzie Newsome came from the Browns with Bill Belichick and Michael Lombardi and Nick Saban. So he kind of grew up in that system of things where Ozzie Newsome brought along that Browns Patriot scout system. So he kind of has a little bit of knowledge from that. So he was a scout there for 14 years, having a lot of success, winning 2 Super Bowls as a part of a scout for the Ravens. Then he goes to the Bears as a director of college scouting, where the Bears have been very successful for the past couple of years with drafting and building talent. Then he goes to the Eagles, 2016 to 2019, where, of course, the Eagles win a Super Bowl. They've been a top contender and doing a lot of innovative and kind of cool things with the way that they maneuver players and different contracts and all that sort of stuff, and scouting pro personnel as well, which he's been a part of. So he's kind of had a little bit of mix of the Eagles style of things, but bringing everything from the old Browns in the 90s to the Ravens to the Eagles to, now the Jets. I think he just has a good track record. He hasn't really gone anywhere and not had success. He's only around 41 years old, so he's still relatively young for the position. So he has a lot of years going forward. And I think this was a really good move for the Jets, because the Jets have struggled to find a guy that really knows what he's doing as a GM recently. And hopefully Joe Douglas can be that guy. And I think stealing from the Eagles right now is a great move.
Considering we have them at the number 1 in the NFC, I think I can agree with that. I like those points. Good stuff there. I just think the Jets need a little bit of a positive motivation going forward, and I think this is the guy to do it with his track record. And at 41 years old, I mean, tons of years left in the NFL. Tons of things that can be that can get done with the Jets here. So I do like it as well. I think it's one of the better ones that they could have done. I think actually the best signing they could have done. Last signing here that I think we have here, Kyle Rudolph. Surprisingly enough, we heard a lot about whether he was not pretty much gone from the Vikings. It was almost a foregone conclusion. And then like 2 days ago, he just re-signed a 4-year, I think $32 million contract.
Yeah, I don't understand this move at all.
It is a very baffling signing. What do you think about
because the Vikings are basically loading up for the next like year or two, and then they're saying we're going to start from scratch. Because like they're saying, like if we don't like win a Super Bowl or do something in these next 2 years, we're basically going to start from scratch. And I think that's another move along the lines of what they did here with Rudolph, because it doesn't really make sense. I don't know why you would sign him to this contract. You just drafted Irv Smith,
yeah.
and you were looking to trade him all offseason, and then all of a sudden you give him all this money. I don't know. I would have preferred to just let him go, try and trade him for the low, or just let him go to free agency next year. But instead they sign him. I just don't get it. I don't think it's the right move, because you're going to have to pay some other players going forward, and you're going to be stuck with all this money where you can't have flexibility in your free agency situation where you can try and sign guys that are bigger free agents. You're going to have to go after all the smaller free agents, and you're basically just keeping a core of your team. What happens if Rudolph sucks these next couple of years, or if somebody sucks and you can't get out of their contract? Like, it just seems like the Vikings are stuck with the team they've had for the last 3 years going forward for the next 2 years. And then if that doesn't work, they're just going to have to completely scrap it. It's just a weird way of going about business. Like, they have no ways of getting out of anything to me.
Yeah, I'm very confused by this whole ordeal. Last year, he had 64 catches, 634 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is the least amount of touchdowns he's had since 2014.
I'm not saying he's a bad player.
No, I know. I think he is a good player, but like, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, they have, again, as the Vikings are my second team because of, family and whatnot. I watch a lot of Vikings games more than most people do. I found that I agree with your point that there is just a lot of this. We've got the same team here, and we're trying to build towards having the same team, minus the big move of Kirk Cousins. And yet they haven't really pushed into a next gear. They really haven't gotten more into either, hey, we're going to rebuild and let's change things up, or we're making big playoff runs. I know they get to the let's put this in there. I know they got to the NFC Championship game in 2017. I understand that. That has been in the last 3 years. But I feel like they really haven't progressed into getting this, like, oh, we're a big-time contender. We're a big Super Bowl. We're going to keep the same talent. And like you said, if this guy sucks, if he has a really bad season, you're kind of stuck with this contract. And the biggest thing for me is you got Irv Smith. You just drafted the guy from Alabama. The whole perception at draft day when you drafted him was, okay, Kyle Rudolph's gone, but we don't really necessarily need him. We got the guy we wanted. I think it was pretty late in the draft too. So getting a guy like him, I think, who was probably the third or fourth, probably the fourth best tight end in this draft, was worth it. But then you give Kyle Rudolph his contract. I don't know. Maybe it was because whatever trade solution that was going on wasn't what they wanted to get, and they're like, all right, let's just get this done. Well, water under the bridge, whatever. But personally, not a big fan. I think it was one of the weaker contract extensions of this past offseason. And I don't know, man. Like, he's a good player. I like this talent, but when you think of Kyle Rudolph, like, do you think of him as a big tight end? Do you think of him as a top tight end? I don't think so. I think he needs to have a more consistent season to do so. And I don't think he really did that this year. So, not a big fan, personally. All right. You got anything else to add here, Mitch? I think. Oh wait, we got one more thing.
Yeah.
Our NFL basketball teams.
Oh, okay.
I almost forgot about this. I didn't want to do that again. But yeah, so Kev brought this idea to us like 2 weeks ago, last week, about basketball NFL teams, and what this would mean is, who would you put in your NFL players as a full-on basketball team? Not in terms of like basketball talent, but in terms of like the positions that basketball players. And considering the finals just happened yesterday, I feel like, Mitch just brought this up, this is the most timely time to do this. So I think this is an interesting idea. Do you have your team already made? You got everybody in place? All right, good.
I do, bro.
All right. So I'll go first here. What I did with my team personally is I would look at whatever, like, the definition of each position. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, and put it most applicably to a player based on that description. So at point guard here, a point guard, according to Wikipedia, is controlling the offense. They also control the style of play and control the tempo of the game. So what I did here is I wanted a running back. I feel like they control the tempo of the game. They control the speed at which the offense goes, can make the play work. So I have Saquon.
Point guard, you have a running back?
I have a running back, yes.
Interesting.
Because I feel like the shooting guard is the quarterback. I agreed with what Kev said here.
Well, I also had a quarterback at point guard too.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't want to do like multiple positions I didn't want to do 2 quarterbacks on my team. Like I have a quarterback.
I don't have that either.
Okay, so I have a quarterback, a running back, a receiver, a tight end, and a defensive player. So that's kind of how I made my team out of. So I feel like the point guard was controlling the style, controlling a little bit of the offense. I went with Saquon Barkley. I feel like with a point guard, you need a guy that can be a leader and can really control what the offense is going to do. And with Saquon's abilities, his talents on the football field, with his receiving and running, I think he could do well in this position. So I'd have him here as my point guard. Who do you have here as your point guard?
My point guard, I went with a quarterback because I felt like the quarterback is the one that controls the offense, which is what a point guard does. He calls the plays out, calls the audibles, kind of dictates where the ball goes, whatever it may be. He's a good passer typically, and kind of dictates matchups. And also, when I think about a point guard, I think about a player that's typically not like big and powerful, but more like quick.
Yep.
So I went with Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson, he's a quarterback. He's a smart guy, but he's also quick in the pocket. He can get away from pressure. He's good under pressure and determining where to put the ball. And he has good accuracy. So I went with Russell Wilson. Plus he has, like point guards typically, long-range shooters. He has a cannon of an arm. So I went with Russell Wilson.
Fair enough. All right, so I like that. That's a good explanation. Shooting guard here this is the one I considered for the quarterback. I consider this to be the big one.
I think you can consider certain quarterbacks shooting guards, but I don't think all quarterbacks are shooting guards.
Yeah,
I think most of them are point guards to me. But
I have Patrick Mahomes here as my shooting guard. What I like about this scenario, as dog gets on the couch, what's up, buddy? So what I think about with the shooting guard is that they're going to bring up the ball. They're like a combo. What can they do? What can they provide for the offense? And for Patrick Mahomes, he does a lot of things. He's very flashy with the ball. And some of the best players we've ever seen in basketball, like Michael Jordan and LeBron James, are these shooting guard types. So I wanted to see kind of a mix between different things and what they can do and how much they're going to lead that offense. And I think Patrick Mahomes is the biggest example for me. So I don't think you're my shooting guard. What do you have?
At shooting guard, I went with a running back because when I think of a shooting guard, I think of a guy that typically drives a lot, typically a one-on-one type of player. They're scorers. So I actually had Saquon, but to be different, I'm going to go with Zeke behind me.
Yeah.
Because I think Zeke, he like Saquon, kind of dictates the offense for the Cowboys in terms of when they want a big play, they give him the ball and they let him in an NBA or basketball term, they let him drive. So Zeke's going to drive. Zeke's going to be powerful. He's going to use his speed and his power to get to the hoop. And that's exactly, or get to the end zone. And that's why I picked a running back and have Zeke here.
Nice. I always like a little Dallas inclusion. First off, Predator asked what the name of the dog. His name is Steve. And second, Jake, I like the comment. The Chiefs would never allow that. They can't allow Patrick Mahomes to do things outside of football. You can't do basketball, no wrestling, anything. Okay, next up is shooting forward, small forward. What the hell am I talking about? With a small forward, as it's loading here, the definition is they're quicker, they're leaner, but they're typically taller. So I went with the receiver. I wanted to get a tall.
Damn, why you keep copying me, bro?
What are you talking about?
I went with the receiver too.
I went with Julio Jones.
Okay. He was on my list, but no.
Okay, he's not your guy though. At least that's good. That's good. Julio Jones is 6'3". He's one of the taller receivers in the game. And they're large. They're obviously larger than the guard positions that they usually have. But they're also very versatile, and they're very big components to what the offense does. And Julio Jones, if you know, I know he hasn't been getting a whole lot of red zone targets last year, but he's one of the better receivers in the game. I think he can do a lot of things on the field that we kind of just forget about at times. And he's just a big old beast. And I think a small forward needs to fill that role in pretty well. So I have a big, tall receiver that can get the job done in a lot of fields to be the shooting forward, and it's Julio Jones. Who do you have?
Okay, so for my small forward, I also thought of a receiver because typically just like thinking about a small forward, outside of like LeBron James, they're typically like kind of like taller but skinny. And thinking about a receiver, I think they can be dangerous, down the field. There's certain types of receivers. I was thinking of a guy that, I don't know, but whenever I think of like a receiver that would just look like he'd be basketball, like Mike Evans. I don't know why. I just thought of Mike Evans. He kind of like, I could see him being like a 3-point shooter. I could see him being that kind of finesse, but also has like this kind of aggressive style to him as well. He's a guy that can go up and get contested catches. He's a deep ball guy as well. Makes a lot of big plays. Yeah, I just feel like when you need that big play in a basketball game, a lot of times small forward for the 3 or something like that. And I think Mike Evans kind of suits that very well. And he's also like really tall, so it just makes sense to me. I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. I do like that, though. I like that. I think it fits the mold of what you're looking for. Because if we're doing basketball, you got to have a little bit of offensive skill, a little basketball skill in there. So, All right, 2 more positions. Power forward. Now, when I thought power forward,
y'all are going to be shocked by mine.
Interesting. When I think of power forward, I think of tight end. This is the second biggest position that basketball has, and it's a post position. It's an area where, it's not typical. It's obviously guys like Tim Duncan, Dirk, those kind of guys. They're not the biggest, huge dudes, but they're going to be able to put up some offensive production. And, in more recent years, have been able to shoot outside of the paint. So I went with George Kittle here. I felt like this was a guy that wasn't the biggest tight end in the world, but still a really athletic guy. Goes in there and puts in the biggest big numbers. Last year specifically, when an offense that wasn't very good, he can go out there and help you out, bail you out if you need to. He can grab the rebounds per se, and I think he is a very interesting pick here, an interesting guy to have on your basketball team. He's not, like I said, the biggest guy like a Kelsey, if you will, but I think he's very athletic, and I think would work a little bit more in terms of the traditional basketball scheme. So I have George Kittle here. Who do you have as the surprise?
Okay, so when I think of a power forward, like nowadays, I think of a guy that he's bigger, but like, and he's very athletic, like strong, like very strong and powerful, but has a little bit of sneaky speed. But he's also a guy that can pass. So like he'll drive and then he'll dish out to a guy on the 3-point line, or he'll he's kind of like that second point guard a lot of times for teams. And for me, I went with a guy that I think could play like 5 different positions in the NFL. He just happens to play quarterback. I went with Cam Newton.
I did not.
Because I can see Cam Newton as a big power forward. He's got the size to do it, but he can also pass because he's a quarterback, and he's powerful enough to kind of get inside and make a play on the glass. So I feel like Cam Newton would be a good choice for my power forward.
Cam Newton. I like that. First of all, that's one of your boys. And second, you put him in a style that I think could work here. Interesting. You do have 2 quarterbacks, though. So
yeah, I do.
But I do like it. The reasoning is sound. That's what I'm going for. Center. Okay, I don't know if you put a 6 man, but this is my last position. So.
I didn't either. No.
Okay, good. I know Kev did. Center, last
Edelman
position.
as a 6th man.
So Edelman, baby.
Just because he's feisty as fuck.
You got to have that energy. But personally, I'm gonna, I don't know who I would have there, but
I would have like a deep ball receiver. Like I'd have like a Travis Benjamin. He'd be like 6th man.
Travis Benjamin.
Or like a Robert Foster.
I like a Ted Ginn personally.
Ted Ginn. Yeah, that's another one.
So for center, for me, again, what it's described as they're usually the tallest player, but the NFL isn't typically like they're tall dudes, but compared to the NBA, they're not really the same. But they have the greatest deal of strength and body mass, and I think I don't want a guy that can't run down the court. You know what I mean? I don't want a guy that's just lazily down the court, but he's big, so he's just gonna put his body.
I hope you don't pick the same guy as me.
Well, I hope not. I've got Aaron Donald here. I wanted a defensive player. I know he's not the tallest guy in the world,
He's too short, bro.
He's a little short. But here's the thing, right? Did you see what he was doing out there in the field last week? He was out there chopping like this, like it was freaking 2 times the speed. I need a guy like that to come in there, and if he needs to bully a little bit, push him down a little bit. I want a big interior guy, and I like Aaron Donald here. Again, not the tallest guy in the world, but athletic. Which I like out of a center, personally. I don't like these, Zaza Pachulias. I need a big guy that can run down the court, make some plays, and beef up a little bit. And I think Aaron Donald's a perfect choice here. Who do you have as a center?
I think I have the perfect choice.
Oh, really?
I need a guy that has, like you said, some athletic ability, but he's still tall. Mm-hmm. And he's got some size to him. He's got, most important thing that I thought of, length. He's very long. He's got big arms. He's got an ability to get up there, block shots. I got JJ Watt. JJ Swat as my center. He's gonna most blocks in the league. He can go up there and win one-on-one battles. And he's athletic enough to kind of, even if you wanted to play power forward. So I feel like JJ Watt would be the perfect center.
All right. I like it. I wasn't expecting a JJ Watt there, but you guys tell us which team you would want. By the way, NFL, call us. We'll get this situated. We'll get it going. We want these guys playing a basketball game.
If I actually had to pick a real basketball team, it would be totally different. Well, I'd have to evaluate their basketball skills.
Well, in terms of their skill.
Like, if I'm being honest, I don't think like Saquon would be good at basketball. I don't know why. I just think I
think his thighs are too big.
Yeah, he's not made for basketball. Like running backs, I think would suck at basketball. I'm just gonna be honest.
What are you doing, buddy?
Maybe like Alvin Kamara is good, but I don't think like many. Like I could see like the smaller, like shiftier guys being good, but not like the kind of like running back body guys. They're just too awkward.
Yeah, like Zeke would probably not be good at actual basketball.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if we got this instead of the Pro Bowl, I'm totally down for this.
Oh, for sure.
We need more of these kind of competition-based things where they're just, we see them in different.
I heard Vince Wilfork is nasty at basketball. Just turn around jumper.
Bro, this guy's eating his barbecue ribs and then just like at the any barbecue, bro. I'm down for that. Guy's a freaking massive beast. What is he, like 340? Oh my goodness. So comment below who you thought the better team was. And I enjoyed making that list. I think that's also it for this episode of the podcast. I know you've got some videos coming out. Do you want to plug anything? I know you put a little bit, but
who should be the first overall pick in your fantasy draft? That's one video. Mm-hmm. The top 10 fantasy football players of 2019. That's the other video. And then some other stuff that I'll be making. But those two I've already made, and I'll probably put up one a little bit later and then the next one tomorrow.
Perfect. I like getting the fantasy football season. That's something a little bit different. A lot of people enjoy that, as you can tell from last season, and getting early on it. I like it. You're going to see, obviously, this podcast. Thank you guys for watching. You're going to get the solo videos for the top 10 or top 5 candidates for offensive, defensive rookie of the years this weekend. So those will be for people that didn't get to watch the full podcast, or if they only want to watch that certain section, they can watch that certain section. Stay tuned for more episodes coming soon. And again, 2 weeks from now, I've got a big episode planned, or a big game plan with Mitch, Kev, and a guest, where you guys will be winning a prize. I guess I'll announce that now. It is an NFL jersey from NFL.com, especially sent to you guys. It'll be 3 representatives. So Mitch will have one guy, one commenter representative for him. And if Mitch wins the game, that person will get the jersey.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, you got to know what you're doing. You're not only playing.
What is this on?
What is this on? It's on NFL history. It's on a whole bunch. like certain stats and stuff. I already have questions in mind. There's going to be a bunch of different answers to the question, so it's not like just one specific answer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's a very back and forth process.
Interesting.
It's gonna be a fun game. I've been trying to get this game for 4 years, and now that we have the podcast and this guest coming, I'm very excited to do it. So, yeah, you guys don't want to miss it. You got a chance for a free NFL jersey sent by me, and it's not just not one of those cheap ones. It's a Nike NFL.com stuff. Hopefully they're running a promo saying I can get some % off. No, I'm kidding, but it is going to be sent to you guys. I am very excited for that, and stay tuned for more NFL content. Again, we were at 10,000 when we got to the last podcast. Now we're at 11,000. So thank you guys for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. So Mitch and Dylan of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.
Deuces.